Welcome to Excel Beyond Boundaries, episode number 10 with Steve Coyne, good friend of mine who is actually the world's strongest man top 10 competitor. So he is top 10 in the world for the lightweight and world's strongest men. And also he is the state rep for the United States Strongman. So he's hosted over how many competitions?
I think the count is 24 competitions now.
Man, and I've been at some of those, and he's great on the mic, great MC, great at planning everything. Competitions are seamless, so definitely check him out. I'm going to start out by, of course, welcoming you. If you want to share a little bit about yourself and also how you got started with your fitness journey.
Absolutely. So first off, good to be here. Thanks for having me, Simos. Yeah, so my fitness journey started really my initial impetus was I was an overweight, obese child really for a lot of my youth. I had took things like my parents splitting and divorcing pretty hard, which led me to a lot of food addictions and just overeating, which led to a lot of self-conscious issues. There's some bullying there growing up, but I was never really super stoked and proud about myself. I always had played some sports, but was never any that good. But what ended up happening was I got into lifting weights to get better at sports, and I just by chance got linked up with this amazing coach who's now one of the best strength coaches in the entire world. On my 15th birthday, I walked into a gym called MetroFlex Gym, which is the home of world-class bodybuilders, including Ronnie Coleman, who's known as the greatest of all time. There's other world-class ones, Branch Warren, Johnny Jackson. I mean, this is one of the meccas of bodybuilding where people travel from all over the world just to come and train there, sometimes for a day, or sometimes they move their entire lives just to come train in this place. And it just so happened that this place was about 2 miles from where I lived. And this trainer, Josh, he moved from Tennessee at the time down to Texas so he could train people and work out and be there. So just like an alignment of the stars, I ended up finding this thing. My brother was the one who took me to that gym, and I just absolutely got hooked on strength training and powerlifting. And as I got further along, I was seeing the progress in numbers. I'd never seen anything like so tangibly progress in my life where it's like, okay, now I'm, deadlifting 225. Oh, wow. Now I'm deadlifting 315. Wow. Now I'm doing it for 5. Now I'm doing 365. Now I'm doing 405. And
So cool to
because of
see.
that magic blend of environment and the right people, I was really able to do extremely well. And I ended up losing a lot of weight. So by the time, when I was in high school, at one point I peaked up to about 265 pounds, I think was at my heaviest. And I actually dropped all the way down. I went over 100 pounds. My lowest was 157.5. I still remember that clearly.
Wow.
I was doing that while setting powerlifting state records. So that sort of transformation was pretty crazy, pretty incredible. I've taken this into fitness because I know and I recognize that I was pretty blessed and lucky to have these people and these circumstances in my life. But that's a 0.001% that I was lucky enough to be in that had the circumstances. Now I run strongman competitions because getting into these things provides a platform for people to see that little bit of a light in themselves where they can see that, tangible results that their hard work delivers. That just creates like a steamroll barrel effect, a snowball, effect for everything else in their lives. It just builds up and up and up. So, that's who I am. I still compete in strongman. As the introduction says, I just finished as a finalist for the lightweight world strongest man, which is one of my lifetime goals. This is actually my medal from it right behind me on my head right now.
That's cool.
Top 10.
Man,
And
that's
it's just
awesome.
important for me to lead from the front. So that's something that I really believe, and I might hit on a couple more times, but I'm never going to, I would feel shallow and hollow to try and expect others to challenge themselves and better themselves if I was not trying to do it to the absolute hardest and highest levels. So I love to push myself. I love being challenged, and I try to provide that same opportunity for others because it just makes everything better.
Definitely, definitely. And I have to say, from knowing you, you are as real as it gets. And I like that you embody everything that you teach. And you've been to the extremes. So you've, lost the weight, you've put the work in to gain the muscle, you've hit plateaus, and then you've broken through those plateaus, and then you've, immersed yourself to even take it to another level. And you're always fine tuning and trying to correct a weak area. And so I've seen it firsthand, and it's been so inspiring. So seriously,
It's always,
definitely.
yeah, it's, we all got that kind of that aim in sight, but it's a lot of zigzagging because life happens, different things happen, but I've been fortunate enough that I've been able to keep moving up. I'm very grateful for that.
Definitely. I wanted to ask the MetroFlex, is that I know is it a small chain or was it that particular location that was famous?
So that was the MetroFlex. There are now franchises that are around, but it started there. So there's even one in Tampa. There's a really famous one in like Long Beach. There's another one in Orange County. There's one in Vegas. There's some in like Fargo, North Dakota. One of my favorite ones is in Fort Worth, Texas. There's one
Yeah,
in Austin. So they're all over the place, but like it started in Arlington, Texas, right? So Metroplex is what they call the Dallas Fort Worth area, so it's MetroFlex. But that's the one, man. It's really unbelievable because now I'm more removed from it, but I will never not get goosebumps when I hear other people talking about like with such allure and like such praise about like Metroflex and Ronnie, and like that was just literally a part of my youth and my upbringing. Like, it's crazy. It just blows my mind every time I think about it.
that's cool. I want to go to that location. I've been to a MetroFlex in Austin, or it was like 40 minutes away from Austin, somewhere in like the greater area.
So that one, that I think that was the Metroflex Austin because that's up in like Round Rock. So yeah,
Yeah, that was Round Rock. Yeah. And I have to say, it was definitely an experience. Like I walked in, and not only was there like a pit bull running around, like he was like the gym dog, but there were all the bodybuilders on the wall and
yeah.
all warehouse, all kinds of equipment.
They on purpose are a hardcore gym. Like that is their brand and their whole thing. But there's a lot of reasoning why that's a thing, right? Like everybody's been to an amped or a crunch that's you could kind of call it like the Walmart of fitness, where like they certainly have what you need, but at a very base level. There's something that's different about Metroflex where you're only drawing a certain type of person, and it's not necessarily about the like most glamorous machines. It's about the energy and like camaraderie and intensity that every single person has in there. And I'm a very big believer, and this is part of what I try to do with competitions, that mass energy. Like think about things where you've heard of like mass hysteria, where a whole bunch of people start freaking out over something and it goes like way crazy, way over the top. Well, the opposite happens to a positive effect. So if we're all like believing in something like delirious, but it's really, really positive, like that's actually going to like positively charge us and take us to a higher level. So you would see things all the time because of that environment was specifically curated to create that. You'd see these Herculean efforts. You see world class level lifters and do the craziest things all the time because it was just the energy that was in there. That's what Metroflex is going for, to create that environment, because you just can't get it when you're under like neon lights and AC and Ariana Grande is playing. You know what I mean? It's just
Oh yeah.
not the same.
Oh man, honestly, that's so true because when I was there, it was like all these badass people, powerlifters, strongman, everyone training for something, and I felt like I fit right in. But now going to a conventional gym, when I'm doing like dumbbell rows with like 120, or I'll strap them together to do like 150 sometimes and go really heavy, people like stare at me, and I don't want the attention. I'm just there to work out, and so it's if there's people that are doing the same things or lifting heavier.
You give them that head nod and say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And then you both go back to your workout.
Yeah, yeah, it's more motivating than kind of being stared at and everyone looking at me like, What's this guy doing?" So I get it completely. Yeah. What would you say if you had to describe your journey in one word, fitness journey in one word? What would you say represents it?
Well, the gut answer was unpredictable. Yeah, that was the gut answer, and that's that because I've gone a lot of different directions that I did not think I would go. Not to say I never believed in myself, but maybe had a little bit of hubris and had some like false pride and false belief. But it's really honestly astonishing to think about what I have now achieved, and I try to say that as humbly as possible because this is a goal. I've done some things with my athletic career that people will train their entire lives for and never be able to achieve. And I really only say that humbly because I've worked so freaking hard for that. I'm truly sometimes at a loss for words for that, and now too, thinking about some of my competitions, I really do these and run these to create an impact and grow a better, happier, stronger society. I went from, my first one, I almost canceled my very first event that I put on because it was like 6 people and it was like embarrassing. I thought it was going to be terrible, but
Really? I
now
didn't know that.
I'm at 75 sold out with a wait list. You know,
Wow.
we're going to be competing on an NFL stadium surface at Raymond James Field. So, to go from basement dungeons in Chicago to, an NFL stadium sold out in Tampa, Florida is, who would have ever saw that coming?
That's
You
amazing.
know what I mean? Like, that's wild.
Yeah. That is amazing, man. Wow. What challenges did you face when you first started your fitness journey? Because I know you said that you were overweight and you felt bullied. Was there like a main, was that the main pain point, or was there another challenge you faced?
Yeah. I mean, that was, I guess, really like kind of the biggest challenge was trying to be somebody that I was not. I think we all go through this phase, especially in our youth, where we have expectations of the way on ourselves we put on ourselves of the way we're supposed to act, the way that we think we should do things, the route we should pursue. And I've had a lot of that. And it really only took me, I didn't really figure that out, honestly, until I feel like the last like 3 years of my life. So this is going all the way back to when I was a kid, thinking I had to do XYZ, going to high school, think I had to act ABC, going to college because I thought I needed to follow this typical career path, and then even some other like interests. I thought I had to conform to this and to that. So, the biggest struggle has been, I guess, tapping into my like true self and my identity. And then when I have just been completely comfortable with being me all the way, that's when things really, really started to change because I had a phenomenal baseline and like I had all these good, positive people in my life that instilled a very good, strong mental disposition. But there was still kind of the mask and the charade of trying to act and pretend like I'm other things that I'm not. So that's kind of the overall, the biggest thing is like truly embracing myself because, in powerlifting, which is where I really started before I went full strongman, I don't know, you have types like people might know Westside Barbell as
Oh
a
yeah.
very famous gym and stuff, and they act a certain type of way. Even at MetroFlex, that hardcore brand, like they act a certain type of way. Like they will get you, if you act out of step in some certain way, like you could get somebody up in your face and they might kick your ass in the middle of the gym floor. But that's also kind of, again, there's something to that because that's the way you approach like the weights. It's so serious. You bring so much of yourself to it that you are hardcore, you are on edge, you are intense. So I spent a lot of time like kind of holding on to that because it was what I knew, but it's not really who I am. It helped make me who I am. And there's parts of me that I will always carry, but like I'm not Mr. Hardcore. And I actually find myself to be quite the opposite, which is very interesting. But there's so many great things that came out of that.
Oh yeah. And that was really well said. I feel like in our 20s, we're even still developing that sense of identity and who we are. And then, there's no specific age, but I feel like typically 30s is where it all kind of comes together
Yeah,
from what I'm
right.
seeing.
Right about 29. 29 was the time for me. So yeah, I would agree.
Makes sense. What would you say I know you have deeper ideals for training. Like, what is your fundamental why? Like, what drives you to have the motivation that you have and, keep pushing because you're so disciplined?
It's part be the change you want to see in the world and lead from the front. That's where I'm at now. I'm very interested and curious and fascinated about the power of human potential, but like I'm really kind of connected to what I think my mission is, and that's making the world a stronger, happier, and healthier place through strength. And it's important for me to be the example of why, because there's some of this out there in my world, but I see what it can be. And there needs to be like strong forces for this good, in my opinion. And I've kind of come to a place where sometimes I feel like, well, if nobody else is going to do it, it does have to be me. Otherwise, what am I doing? I'm just going to sit back and complain and moan about it. That's like why I started. That's one of the reasons I started getting into shows. I was thinking, I love this sport. I love strongman competitions. All of the ones I've done recently, I think, are done terribly. So I want to see it done this way. So if that's ever going to happen, I have to create it. It's that simple. So my driving force really is lead from the front because I want to see this change. I believe it can happen, but I do feel like who cares if it's coming from some, some nobody that doesn't put in the effort themselves. Like I would not listen to anybody that was telling me like, hey, you need to do XYZ if they could not demonstrate themselves that like XYZ really did the job for them that they're promising it will do.
That's true. That's very true. No, you're definitely setting an example leading from the front. And those competitions are the best that I've been to. Seriously.
I try my absolute best, man. I do think that I have found the right, you can call it a talent stack, but there's just certain things in my experiences I think have led me to be pretty good at it. And now combined with really a lot of experience, yeah, they just keep getting better and better and better. I've honestly not had a bad one yet. So thank you for saying that.
That's awesome. And no, yeah, I mean it completely because I've done not only strongman, a handful of strongman, but other types of competitions. And often they could be chaotic or out of order or, all that. Hence why you started it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah. What is your piece of advice, would you say, for someone just starting their fitness journey? Do you have like something that you would tell them in particular from your experience?
Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. If you're getting into fitness because you think XYZ people are going to think of you differently, like it's the wrong reasons. This is something that should be a healthy, sustainable part of your lifestyle that should enrich what you're doing. So if you are going to get into a journey about any of this whatsoever, it should be an activity that you enjoy for the right reasons because it's yours, right? Like if you want to just go play basketball because that's your favorite sport, like heck yeah. If you're thinking like I really want to be fit and be an athlete and you love basketball, but you think baseball is what you should do, you're not going to enjoy it.
That's
So
true.
that's it's just sort of that. So whatever it is, you're going to have an easier time. Like, what's the term I'm looking for? Like a labor of love is going to be much easier than any other type of labor.
Yeah, no, for it to be sustainable and be a part of your lifestyle, you should enjoy it, which makes sense. I like
Yes.
that.
So sometimes people have a hard time like then figuring that out and saying, well, like I don't like working out or moving at all in general. And I understand. So if you're thinking about it at all, like there's some reason deep down inside of you for why you want to do that. So the labor of love, labor is working out, but like maybe the love is your children or something. So it's really like always connect to why you are doing this. For the like that true big grand vision. Like what's your dream life? Like what's your happiest self? Like and why does fitness allow you to be in that area that you want to be? Staying connected to that like above everything else.
I like that deeper ideal. What would you say if is your mantra that you live by? I know you've said a couple different phrases, but do you have a specific fitness philosophy or mantra you live by, or even any mental exercises you do before, strongman competition, like a yoke carry or something?
I have tons, so I will list off a few. I have tons. I'll start with I've been saying to myself like jacked and happy, because I always see lift angry. That's like a very common
Oh
thing.
yeah.
This is what I was telling you about is as far as like I want things to be a little different in my world. This is a whole other hole that we could go down to, but you operate differently at different emotions. So for example, right, like if you're angry, you literally like have a vibrational frequency that's like very low and very weak. But if you are happy, you have a vibrational frequency that is very powerful and up here. So it is not, you call it selfish. If you want to be stronger, just be happy. Like that it's that simple. So jacked and happy. The other one that I say to myself as far as an athlete is I say no one improves faster than me. So like I'm not at the top, like whatever, but I'm catching up quick. And when I think about this, when I'm having like a tough time in a training session or I'm trying something new, like I'm doing an Olympic weightlifting block right now, I feel kind of clunky. Now it's getting better, but I'm frustrated because it's not as good and smooth and as practiced as a lot of my other training things in strongman. I just say nobody gets better faster than me. So it's like okay that I'm not there right now because I'm going to get better at this fast. That's just a self belief thing that is keeping me going. So those are two big ones, and then there's a lot of situational ones beyond that. But it just all kind of boils down to self belief. Like I believe I am capable. It's not I am capable like all the time, no matter what. But I have to apply myself and show up in the right way.
Oh yeah, and I had a feeling you were gonna have some good ones. Those are good. I like the how you said to not train angry, but to train happy because I've never thought about that. But you're right. The vibrational, your vibration. I never made the connection, but because when I was younger, I would just train like my life depended on it. I'd get
Live
so
angry,
mad.
bro. This is
Yeah.
what I was talking about. I used to want to identify because of this MetroFlex background as like hardcore, hardcore, hardcore. But like, hell no, hell no. That's not it, man. It's different. There's a book by this guy David Hawkins called Power versus Force, right? So basically, you have all of these different like emotions and energy levels that correspond to each other, and he did a lot of series of muscle testing on people where he would get them into certain emotional states and sometimes just say out loud like an emotional state. So you have like, let's come up with some negative ones. So like lust, anger, depression, like sadness, right? So he would like test them in these states or literally just say that word to them and like measure their their literal strength levels. And then he would do other ones such as like love, joy, enthusiasm, right? And so what he ended up doing was finding that there's a logarithmic scale where it like these things are exponentially more powerful than the next level down as you get into these like positive levels. Okay. So it really is very true on this. But power versus force, the reason that it's called that is that there's pretty much a breaking point where when you start getting into the actual positive emotions, it becomes a power that you are able to use versus everything under that is negative is a force that is acting on you. Okay, so that's why we want that's why we want to be happy is we want to have the power to act with, not have the forces acting on us.
Man, that was very interesting. I wrote down the book, Power versus Force, David Hawkins.
He's got like a 7-8 book series that's where it starts. So if you want to deep dive into that, but you would probably if you one more thing to write out and check out is a map of consciousness. So that's the like logarithmic scale. It looks like a funnel that illustrates this exact thing. I'm sure you have seen this before. If you look it up, you'd be like, "Oh, I've seen that before, guaranteed." But that's an illustration of the different levels of that. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Man, that was really interesting. I'm definitely going to check out those books. Random question in the meantime, until we get into this next category.
All right.
What would you say you're most proud of your fitness journey? Would it be being top 10 in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good accomplishment.
Without a doubt, bro. Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt, there's a very small number of people that have achieved that. There's a very, very small number of people that have achieved that. And wow.
That's
Because
huge.
deadlifting 700 for the first time was really sick, but you don't have to compete against somebody else in order to do that. There's not somebody that's good, that's like trying to, you know, it's you versus you. It's you versus the weight. That's it. Like for me, I had to win a regional competition in order to get there. So I had to win a whole competition against other people that were good. And then I had to compete against 50 of the best dudes from around the entire world who also had to compete to get there in order to get this. You know what I mean? And
It's a lot of competition, a lot of direct competition.
it really is the best in the entire world. I mean, that's the reason why I do that competition. It is the world's strongest man. So I just believe that if you're going to do something, you got to take it all the way. It does not make sense to me to do it any other way. So if you're either all in or you're all out. So I'm all in. I'm running headfirst into the best, toughest competition there is. And this was also just hard work training paying off, focus paying off, nutrition paying off, a lot of like good, focused, hard work that I believed in paid off. And my game plan for that was executed pretty much to a T. So awesome. It was that is by far what I'm most proud of. Not even close.
Good, good.
This is my
And I've
medal for the regional right there too.
I'll right next to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool background. I've got to say, I remember I like the way you find your weakness and then you don't just work to fix it. You run towards that, like you run towards it. Like for example, I remember seeing back in the day, maybe 2, 3 years ago, your overhead press was your weakest, and you would post about it, and then all of a sudden, I see you just working on it, and then all of a sudden, shortly after that, you're overhead pressing huge amounts of weight. Like that was no longer a weakness. It wasn't even baseline. It was a strength. Like you made that your strength.
It's getting there. So actually, what's really cool is right. So this was my second year that I did this OSG, this World's Strongest Man competition. And last year in the overhead event, there's always at least one. Last year I got, I think 31st in the overhead event, right? So not very good. This year I got 17th, right? So that's a pretty big. And again, we're talking about this is better competition than last year, and that's a huge improvement, bro. That's almost like top quarter of the field of the
Yeah,
very best in the world. And like I appreciate you saying that, but it's still not like something that jumps out as my strength. It just has come that far.
true, true. No, that makes
What I
sense. But
say,
again,
nobody's progressing faster than me.
yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes sense. And seeing it from my perspective, it seems like a significant improvement for sure.
It's massive. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that took me into this position.
That's cool that you make sure you are well rounded when it
Well,
comes to all events.
it came to a point where mantras. Here you go, another one. Results are your reality. Results are reality. I got
Result.
to a point where I had to accept that, like, listen, man, my overhead's not getting it done. Like, if I want to be like, I'm over here thinking that I am great at this, but my results do not reflect that, right? Like, I can't go in and have this terrible overhead performance. Like, I can't go in and I can't just keep thinking that I know what to do to fix it because I haven't done it yet. So I came to a point where I said, okay, well, you're not getting it done. You can't figure it out. So what now? And then I hired my coach, Max McCall, still with him almost 2 years later. Guy's the man. It was definitely the right decision. Yeah.
Good, good. No, that's a good mentality to show that everyone always has to be open to growth. There's always someone you can learn from, always areas of improvement.
Listen, I know so much when it comes to training. Not enough. Not as good as Max when it comes to strongman.
Constantly learning. Oh yeah. What are you currently training for? The next competition?
Yeah, so I actually just signed up for America's Strongest Man competition in July.
Whoa. And that's what is that? What competition is that?
So there's a new kind of pro circuit around, and that is a new higher level pro show. So, you know, if I win, I get $5,000, which is pretty cool.
Not bad. And I mean, I have a feeling you will. I'm gonna watch for sure.
Not bad. I think I'm going to do well. There's this is another one. It's good competition. Like I already know some of the guys that are signed up. They're good, but that doesn't deter me in any way, right? Like that's more reason to do it now because like whatever. I actually decided to not do another pretty large scale competition that will not have as good of competition. I am intentionally choosing to go do something harder because it will benefit me more. And it's pretty exciting. It'll be cool to have the America's Strongest Man title. And if I get top three, I get, it's pro status. So I would officially become a pro strongman.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that. That's cool. You got some time to train a little more, and then July.
It's
Perfect.
on. Yeah, I can't wait.
Good. What is your go-to song or playlist when you need to power through? I know you've got some good songs.
Oh man. So I'm gonna give you an unexpected answer, I think, on this. I have actually, as of late, as of the past year and a half or so, I've like almost detached from a lot of music when I train and when I compete. So there's a reason for that. I've been trying to pay really a lot of attention to subconscious signaling and stuff, right? So there's a theme that you're seeing here is that like I used to be Mr. Hardcore, this and that. So some of my favorites were, here's what I used to do. Like Pantera was probably my go-to for a long, long, long time. Pretty much give me any Pantera song you got. Awesome. Super cool. Love it. Like very loud, hard, intense, violent music, but a lot of their lyrics and a lot of their themes are pretty aggressive. Like, come up to me, I'm gonna like fight you and stuff like
Yeah.
that, or get out of my face. It's like stuff like that, and people need to be very careful about what lyrics and things are going into their head kind of all the time. Even if it's a tune that's really like, oh, like yeah, it's good to be going like this. Like you're sending signals into your brain over and over and over again. Again, of like fighting violence, or like a lot of rap is like drugs, strippers, gangbang, and cocaine, like all that stuff. So even like I love Rick Ross and stuff, like that stuff is really good. But man, I don't know if I'm really serving myself like the absolute best way if I'm putting that in my ears over and over and over again. So no go-to songs or music. You know what? And like since I stopped listening to music at competitions, I've only done better and better and better. So it's just more of a reminder that like it's it's internal, it's all within. Like I have the power to turn myself up or down because it's me, because I have it. Like that's that.
That's really interesting. And it makes sense from what you said. And I remember our conversation when we caught up recently. It makes sense. Also, what was I gonna say? Um, wow, yeah, no, to shift your energy, because if it's bringing you down, you're not gonna be as strong. If you're listening to that stuff, it could affect you.
Well, think about what I keep talking about as far as like the lift angry. Like Pantera is angry music, and that can serve a purpose, but I don't think that it serves me in the best way.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And it's interesting to see the big picture about your journey, how things were refined and how things changed in regards to not only your training, but the music that reflects that. Because it's not like you were still listening to the same music with your journey reflecting more holistic, more mindset. The music changed, everything changed. Like your external changed as you changed. That's really interesting.
Yeah, well, it has to, because your subconscious controls really 90% of the way you think, right? But it's always on. It's always on. So in your conscious, you can choose what you watch or listen to or this and that. So there's only like 5 to 10% that you're like choosing basically, but your subconscious is always taking in those little things left and right. So you got to really be careful and like audit what it is that you have going on. Even if you're somebody that likes to watch, like let's say garbage TV while you're sitting and doing work, like you're still getting that filtered in through your ears, even if you're sort of acting like you're not paying attention to it. Yeah, you still are.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Man, powerful. That makes me want to assess everything I'm doing and refine those areas.
And this doesn't mean you have to entirely cut it out, but for some people you might need to, but in certain doses. Like if I'm going whatever, I'm driving like road trips, or like when I travel and like take planes, like listening to music like just kind of helps me get through and like pass the time in a more enjoyable manner. And I'm just sitting there like listening to Pantera, stuff that I just like enjoy. So it doesn't really matter if I have nothing to do for 3, 4 hours. You know what I mean? But if I need to be operating at my highest self, then I need to like have a different emotional state.
No, that makes sense. I like that a lot. That's very eye-opening for sure. Do you have any embarrassing random question, but it kind of correlates with your training and going to the gym? Any embarrassing stories from your fitness journey? Like any time that you might have, it might not be really embarrassing, but could be perceived as embarrassing or just something funny.
Oh, man, again, I'll give you the good answer. The one that comes to mind is we're at a competition. This is not when I was competing as an athlete, but when I was hosting one, I had to make some changes to some of the weights for an event, and they ended up being a little lighter than what were originally advertised. Listen, man, that stuff happens sometimes. And in my defense, I did not get the full like set of weights that I had asked for from my equipment sponsor. I should have checked out
No.
when I left their warehouse, but like that is what it is. And somebody had come up to me and asked me about it. He's a nice guy. He's a high level competitor. He's a great strongman. And he was like, why? How come we're doing these weights now? And I sort of said like, like sorry, it is what it is right now. Like I don't have enough. And he, in my opinion, walked off like kind of mopey, like a baby. But I openly mocked him, like his like mannerisms and stuff. I was like, oh, boo hoo, and like I did that in front of like everybody, dude. I was like, fuck. Now, I will say, I think he was acting soft, but it does not matter. I should never have done that. I should absolutely not have done that. That's embarrassing behavior. It doesn't matter what I think. Like that guy had no. It's my position to be the like I just should not have done that. That was stupid. It doesn't matter what I think. Like
Yeah.
be an ambassador for everybody and be the host of the party for everybody. Like it doesn't like it's sort of things like if we you know, don't get along or whatever, and you're at my party, I still want you to have a good time. Like, so I should have acted as such.
Yeah, no, yeah, true, but that is funny though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, yeah, I like really was like, "Ooh, ooh," but but I shouldn't have done it. It was stupid, and whatever, man. I reached out to him. I was like, hey, bro, that was really bad of me. I'm sorry about that. Like, inexcusable. It doesn't matter why it happened. We're cool, but that still was very dumb. Like, just whatever.
That's all good though. I mean, we all have things that we,
It
yeah,
happens. It happens, man. It's okay.
that's funny. If you could work out with any celebrity or anyone in history, I'm curious to hear who it would be.
Oh man, I mean, I love all my strongmen. So I got a Mariusz Pudzianowski poster up on the wall. He's one of my all time favorites. If I could have a week to work out with peak Mariusz Pudzianowski, that'd be awesome. Because a lot of reasons I don't know a lot about how he trained. There's not kind of some mystery about that because he was Polish and just like not a lot of Polish social media happening in the early mid 2000s. Whereas like even Bill Kazmaier, I've got another poster of him over there. Like there's a lot that we know about his training because he documented so much of it. So like I would love to train with Bill Kazmaier, but I kind of know exactly what he would do. So not as much mystery to there. Oh man, I mean, of course, like even though that was my home, Ronnie Coleman, good workout with Ronnie Coleman, good workout with Dorian Yates, the bodybuilder. Like that would be super cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I all that stuff is sweet, man. But I'd probably say Marius up here.
Isn't he the one who created the croc row, which is the variation where you kind of use your whole body?
So that was now known as Janae Marie Krozaleski, formerly Matt Krozaleski.
Yeah, he changed to,
Yeah, now
yeah,
Janae Marie. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
Matt Kroc now Janae Marie Kroc. Yeah, that's Kroc Row.
Yeah, I remember I read something about okay, interesting.
So I met him at so another like MetroFlex person. I met him doing a photo shoot at MetroFlex like 15 or 20 years ago when he was still so he had just finished doing powerlifting was like doing a little foray into powerlifting or into bodybuilding for a while. So he was one of the greatest powerlifters on the entire planet for a while there. He had some big records that held for a long time, man. So he was a machine. So when I was a kid, I was like 15 at the time or something, 16 maybe. He was somebody I like really looked up to. So that's like just again, that's the type of caliber of person that like on a random Tuesday afternoon might walk into MetroFlex. So I'm talking about this environment that I got so lucky to be in.
Uh,
Like I was routinely getting to see, I don't know, Matt Kroc, Kai Green, bodybuilder. I saw him right after he won the Arnold one year, and incredible, like ripped peak condition. Joel Stubbs, Seth Verrose, like I met Benny Magnuson, the first person to raw deadlift over 1,000 pounds. Like he came there, saw that in person too. So you just see these things like all the time, and like how
that's cool.
how cool is that? It's one of these things that leads me to some level of certainty that I'm on this path for a reason. I didn't just have all that crap happen in my life for nothing.
Yeah. You were an outlier in that sense with all the right factors. Like the book Outlier, it
Yeah.
talks about right place, right time, right factors.
How is it possible that my parents split and divorced? We moved to North Arlington, 2 miles away from this gym, right at the time when Josh Bryant moved down from Tennessee, was looking to take on anybody for personal training clients, started training me and my brother. Like, it's just like thing after thing after thing, and then like, there's a series of things now with like World's Strongest Manatee is not meant to die, bro. It's like this thing is on, like it's so on. I wasn't even gonna do it this year. And then the guy from WOD Wars called me up and was like, hey, you interested in doing strongman with me? Like in the spring? And I was like, well, I just, I was not gonna do it, but like, yeah, I'm so in. So because um, Brandon Hardy, that was running the Vice powerlifting meet with me, he's just going in a new direction in life. So he's not doing the powerlifting meet. I wasn't going to do World's Strongest Manatee, but then like it was like 2 weeks later, Chris from the Fit Fest calls up and he's like, "You want to do a strongman comp?" I'm like, "Oh, it's back on. Let's go." Yeah,
Complete 180.
yeah, yeah. So I was bummed about it. Like, man, I really want World's Strongest Manatee to happen again. That's my baby, dude. That's the number one. So now it is. I mean, dude, it's literally going to be the number one biggest strongman competition in Florida.
Man, I'm excited for it. Even though I can't make it this year, I'm really excited for it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it ain't going nowhere. Don't worry.
Good, good. I'm gonna plan on the next one for sure. Yeah. What is kind of into the diet section? We're getting towards the end. Do you have any specific diets you follow, or is it just generally healthy?
So I actually have a nutritionist that I work with. His name is Will Clark. He's based out of I think he's in south of London somewhere. He's in the UK.
Oh wow.
So, but it's all healthy. I mean, it's I follow a carb cycling routine right now that he has me on. So tomorrow's a nice big high carb day. So I'll be good. But like, it's sort of the same with the training. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I know how to do, but I need the right, correct roadmap. I can show up and drive. Just tell me what to do, man. Tell me where I'm going, and
Yeah.
I'll like take care of the rest. He gives me full meal plans, but they're all high protein, healthy, and making sure that you get all your micronutrients as well as your macros. That's
Nice.
over the last year and a half that I've put extra focus into. Is really getting like all those micronutrients down. So like just more greens than I had before in the right balance, like more fruits than I've had before in the right balance. Really just again, the micros matter. So shout out to there's the Macro Factor app, and then there's also Chronometer. Those are two tracking apps that will show you all the micronutrients you're getting in all your foods. So
Awesome.
I use the Macro Factor. It rocks. But it
Macro
does
fat.
make a huge difference, man. And it's been proven that it's working by getting my blood work done too. So like all that stuff's like solid as a rock right now.
Nice,
Yeah,
man. That's and yeah, everybody needs a coach. If you want to be on the next level, that's just something you have to do. So that's cool that you
I have two. So
yeah, that's smart, honestly.
and I'm now too, on top of that, like one of the things I'm doing is building my community where I'm constantly engaging and talking with other coaches now too. So like that's something that I'm looking to deliver for other people, but selfishly, I get to talk to these people all the time too. I get to ask them stuff. I get to learn, if they're bringing really good information into this, I get to learn from that too. Like that's it's a big benefit. And I now starting to have interviews with different like pro strongmen and like coaches and Q&A. So like I hope in the same vein, Simos, that like you're like, oh man, I learned some good stuff from all these calls you're doing. Like I'm on the other end of that too, where it's like, oh, I never thought about that. That's really like, so it's not just having a coach, but it's constantly looking for ways to get better. And that's just like an overall open mindset approach to the way you approach everything you're doing.
I like that. No, you're right. I'm definitely looking forward to with the community having so many intelligent people in discussion groups to learn from. You're right. That's
Yeah,
true.
it's awesome.
What's your favorite cheat meal? If you have a cheat meal, what would you go to?
I don't really cheat that much, man. I mean, there's like foods that I like the most are what people would deem healthy. So like, dude, a big steak, man, like a really oversized steak, or like a whole bunch of
Excuse me.
really bless you, a whole bunch of top notch sushi are the things. Like I love barbecue, stuff's good, but like, dude, just give me a good, like a nice big ribeye steak. That's what does.
That is the best.
Yeah,
Man. So that's really, yeah, that's not bad at all. I thought, most people say like cookie or like, something like that. Most people have like sweet dessert.
nah, that doesn't really. I mean, I like to have a little bit of that, but I'm more of a type that would like to sample and like have a bite of something sweet, and then I'm good. Just want to see what it tastes like, and then I'm all set.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That's cool. Ooh, next question you actually kind of answered already. I was going to say coolest gym you've ever been to, but I have a feeling you're going to say MetroFlex.
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, one of my so MetroFlex Arlington, the original, the OG, is awesome. But I would also give a big shout out to MetroFlex Fort Worth, which is just down the road, about 20 miles away, maybe closer. But what's cool about MetroFlex Fort Worth, owned by my friend Randy Dela Cruz, known that guy for almost 20 years, man, true brother to me. But it's in a former bomb making factory because in Fort Worth, there's a lot of places that were contracted by the government, like Lockheed Martin, to like make military equipment. So it's like literally like this big old warehouse. It's huge, 100,000 square feet maybe. And the way they have it laid out is like basically a series of separate gyms. So they have like a full boxing gym. They have a full MMA arena. They have a full like, dude, the cardio theater is like sectioned off by itself where it's really cool. But then they have a like full strongman cross training room. Then outside of that, where the garage door bays open up, it's more strongman stuff. It's all the outdoors moving stuff. They have like a bodybuilding section gym part one. They have a like bodybuilding gym like part two over in the other corner. They have a
Oh, it's
third
epic.
functional training thing. So it's like, dude, it's all very cohesive but at the same time, it's like because it's so big, it's like 6 or 7 or 8 different gyms in one. But they still have found a way to like feng shui it where it's like all like together.
Man, that sounds amazing.
I love that place. And like that again, that guy Randy is one of my he's one of my favorite people, man. He was the night manager at MetroFlex Arlington before he opened up his own franchise. So he's killing it out there. MetroFlex Fort Worth. Go say what's up to him if you're ever down there.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that in mind. And the fact that it used to be a bomb making warehouse, that just makes it like another
Right.
level
Yeah.
of badass. That's cool. Are you a morning person for workouts or afternoon person? I feel like it's kind of like an even split, so I love asking people.
I'm a morning person, and right now, actually, I get up first. Right now, I get up first thing in the morning and work out. But when I get back into heavier training for like strongman, when I'm back into heavy stuff, it is a like late morning thing because I need like one really good big meal in me before I get to training. Now, since it's a lot more technique focused on this like Olympic weightlifting stuff, I just get up and get to it right away.
Oh, okay, so it depends on what you're training for and other factors.
But always morning. Yeah, always morning. Just
Ah, okay.
right now, first thing in the morning, and if not, then it'll be more like 9:30 or 10.
Later morning. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I personally, a lot of people like evening, but I don't understand myself being all out at the end of the day. That's tough. It's challenging to find that energy at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. personally.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I feel the same way.
But I guess it all depends on the person. So I respect those night warriors.
Yeah, but not me.
No, me either. I only have a couple questions left. Do you have any quirky or weird fitness habits that others find surprising? Like you put like hot sauce on everything, or if you
Is
know
that weird?
diet.
Is that weird? Yeah, I was gonna say I do put hot sauce on everything. So if that's weird, that's one.
That's funny. It popped in my head. I wasn't even gonna mention that, but I was like, I need to give an example.
Quirky or weird fitness habits, man. Like I don't know, like necessarily quirky or weird, but
Like if you dry pre-workout dry, or anything like that. Or
I don't know. I mean, I guess quirky or weird. I mean, I guess the only thing is like I'm really big into to energy work and stuff. So like, there's a lot of stuff that people may not know about me when I'm like doing certain lifts or like warming up or certain things. Like I am actively applying some like qigong type like energy works into my lifts and my movements and intention and setting like that. And it's little things like sometimes if I'm like let's say for example I want to work my chest and like your green is your heart, like chest is your heart chakra and like your heart center, and this is all green. Like if you while you're breathing you visualize your muscles expanding with like the color green, like you are empowering that with like the energy of this energy sector.
interesting.
And then
Huh.
on the other end too, this actually applies better in another sense. Like if you're injured, right, like a lot of times it can be a purely, I want to say purely because it's all nothing's ever completely independent of one another, but like you have, right, energies in your body, like your muscles, like your physical and your metaphysical, right? So like if somebody's hurting their low back, like that could be something related very frequently. This happens all the time to their like sacral chakra, which is connected to like feelings of like security. So things like money problems lead to low back issues and low back pain like all the time. And that's again correlated with these specific frequencies and colors. So one thing you could do to heal that is like give yourself like self love and like grounding and like secure affirmations, but also eat orange foods. So like more carrots, more sweet potatoes, more orange peppers, right? And like it all goes to that. Like again, it's not if you don't really know what the cause of something is, you might as well kind of attack it from all angles.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing how in recent years everyone's beginning to recognize how holistic everything is with fitness, mental health,
Even strongman, brother.
and that's amazing to see. That's cool that you're bringing it to the forefront.
I've had some good blessings, but like genetically, like I didn't have a whole bunch of really great stuff to me. Like I think a lot of my successes being so well rounded with all the holistic approach. That's why I call my brand of my coaching swolistic, right? It's swole holistic life. That's it.
That's awesome, man. Well, final question would be whatever you want to share with the audience, more so if you want to mention your Strawman community and where to find you, and I'll link it as well at the bottom.
Awesome. Yeah. So all of my socials on literally everything across the board is Stephen M. Coyne, Stephen MCOYNE. So if you want to connect with me on Instagram, I'm pretty active. On my YouTube, I make videos 2, 3 every week. I do a live stream talking about strongman every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then also Club Strongman on Instagram, or clubstrongman.com is my private community where I post a lot of training tips, insights, and other cool things like I was talking about. I have guest speakers and pro athlete, pro coaches that come on a couple times throughout the month. So 7-day free trial for that if you ever want to check it out and see what's going on the inside. Or just shoot me a DM and talk shop. That's cool too. So Stephen M. Coyne on all socials, or clubstrongman.com to
Perfect.
get the good stuff.
And I'm just gonna check the for this episode. I'm actually gonna release this for just for you to know. It would be in about 2 weeks,
Sounds
and
good.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Steve. Really, you gave some amazing insight and value. I wrote down a lot of things for myself. I'm gonna
Yeah.
check out those books.
Power versus
And
sports, brother.
man, I learned so much. Seriously, I love these interviews.
I bet. I bet. Well, awesome. Thanks for having me on, brother. It was good.
Thank you. That concludes episode number 10, and talk to you soon. Thank you, Steve.
You got it, brother. Talk soon, man.
Talk to you soon.